Hello there, it's Owen from Team One Card Denglong, and today I wanted to do a deck profile for Salamangreat. This is specifically for the Worlds list because there's events running that over the next 2 weeks or so, and this is a very budget heavy profile, so it's pretty much just a tree structure deck and kind of a couple nice additional extra cards you can get hold of. There's no Phantasmes, no minings, nothing that expensive in this. Basically, I think the most expensive card is like €2 or something. So we'll just get straight into it there now. So you're playing one copy of Gazelle. It's at one for this format. If you could play more, you would, but you can't. So one Gazelle is still the best card in the deck. You want to see it as much as possible. Then you're playing Tree Spinny and Tree Foxy for more the rest of the level trees. Foxy is by far the best normal summon going first. Spinny just kind of gets you there. It just lets you play boards you shouldn't be able to. Lets you make Stalio, lets you access Gazelle from Stalio and stuff like that. It's just they're kind of necessary a tree at the moment, especially with less copies of Gazelle available. So for 1 out Salamangreat monsters, you're playing one Falco, one Jaguar, one Fowl, and one Mole. The Mole is a bit questionable, but because of this deck, it's not playing huge power. It's not playing as much interruption as you'd like because obviously the some of the more expensive hand traps are pretty ridiculous in price. So this is just how you see it. So Mole lets you kind of play later in the turn. If your board gets wiped, you're probably going to have 5 Salamangreat monsters, and then you get all of those resources back and 2 cards. So that's I see it kind of as that way. It also special summons itself, so it's an extra monster if you need it. Then for hand traps, sorry, not hand traps yet. We have one Lady Debug, self-explanatory. Adds Gazelle, adds stuff like Spinny, whatever you need. It's just basically another copy of Rhoda for the Salamangreat monsters because you don't play anything. You're not really ever adding any of the level 3s. Maybe at level 4s, maybe Foul if you wanted to, but you can't. Then I don't actually own this card, but this should be Tree Flame Buffalo. I couldn't find any, and it's a bit weird. I've just never played it. So this just lets you dig. You discard copies of cards you don't want, the Jaguars, the Spinnies, stuff like that, and lets you get deeper into your deck, find stuff like Circle and Gazelle and all those. Even more hand traps. Then for hand traps, you're playing 2 DD Crow, 2 Ash, triple Veiler. Why I picked these now is obviously Veiler is just everywhere, so Veiler is very cheap to come by. Ash is in the structure deck. It's actually slightly more expensive, but because it's in the structure deck, you're fine really, because I say everyone has 3 copies of these now. The DD Crows, on the other hand, they're still cheap, and they're excellent in the mirror. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot of the mirror over the weekend, so it's a good call. I think you can obviously side it out if you're against something less favorable, but like you can also hit stuff like their Ray. If they're resolving multi-roll, you can hit stuff like you can hit some of the cards that you think they'll get from multi-roll and stuff like that. So even in the mirror match, you can banish their traps. So then for spells, Tree Circle. This is the only reason why I think you can still play this deck at a budget level. If there wasn't Tree Circle, it's not actually playable, the deck, I think, because you'd have to play Silent Mining. It's simple as it's not as consistent even now because you've only one Gazelle, but because there's 3 circles still in the Worlds format, it's still a playable deck. I'm playing 2 Will because Will lets you grind. It also lets you extend. As I said, you don't have as much interruption. You don't have as much bombs in this deck as stuff like Phantasme and stuff. So this lets you play later in the game, kind of, if you know what I mean. You can grind it out more or less, and this card is one of the best cards for the grind game. As well as actually it lets you trigger Foxy if you had to. So, but you'll usually always have this card down, Sanctuary, self-explanatory, added off Balings. Um, then we're playing one Fusion of Fire. This, I said we're not playing many bombs, but we're playing one or two. This is one of them. Just lets you just win the game sometimes. There's an OTK combo to do with Heat Leo. I probably don't need to explain it. You could probably find it somewhere online. Just look up Salamangreat OTK and you'll find the Fusion of Fire OTK basically. Then we're playing one Foolish. This is basically just gets you there. It can send Foxy, it can send Spinny. It's just it can send Jaguar. Basically, everything comes back in this deck from the graveyard. So this just gets you there. You kind of need to play it now that you're kind of less consistent starts. But this kind of works. So even if you draw this and Will, you can get access to your Gazelle, which is quite good. Then you're playing triple Cosmic Cyclone. This is the cheaper between this and Twin Twister. This is about 50 cents, I think, in a while Twin Twister's €3-4. So this is what I've decided to play instead. Now, if you can get hold of Twin Twister, I'd say play that. I'd recommend playing Twin Twister. Just because the decks are stuff like Striker and Salamangreat, and you want to hit more back row rather than just remove it completely. It's still good though, you can get rid of stuff like Rage and whatnot. So onto the traps now. So we're playing quite a heavy Salamangreat trap lineup. We're playing triple Rage and double Roar. Sorry about the shine there, it's just the lighting's a bit weird. The reason why I'm playing so heavy here is because you kind of want to draw one. If you draw one, you can send the other, and then your board is a lot stronger. Arguably, like, triple Rage mightn't be a mistake. If you have anything else you want to put in instead, I'd say cut one Rage, two Rage, and two Roar. Just kind of because you have the space, and it just makes the boards better to draw one rather than not seeing any at all, since you can't see his Gazelle as much. And then for the last two cards is one Solemn Warning and one Imperial Order. I'll have to explain both of these now. So Imperial Order is for basically Striker, and if you go first. Arguably you could side this. Arguably you could not play it at all. I just think because Striker is probably Striker, Thunder, and Salamangreat are going to be the three most played decks. And I think Striker and Salamangreat both lose pretty hard to this if they just activate like a mining or something. You just flip this and you basically win the game. Now Warning is for really their normal summon, because they normal summon, you warning it. Oftentimes that can get you there. That can just get you over the line and win the game, especially if you have something to back it up, like a Roar or a Rage. So that's the main deck anyway. That's a solid 40. So we're gonna get into the extra deck next. So you're gonna play 3 Bailings. Sorry, the shine is pretty bad right now. Apologies about that. You're playing 3 Bailings. It's in the structure deck. It is self-explanatory. Just add Sanctuary. Does what you need it to do. Protects your monsters. Very, very good. Then you're playing Tree Wolf. You can't really play without this. It's necessary. It's 100% necessary. People will argue that in a pure budget build you wouldn't play this, but it's down to €2 or something now. You have to play it. You really do, because it's just makes the deck playable basically. Without it, you're not going to win many games. Then we're playing 1 Hita, 2 Leo. Once again, Leo, it spins back row, and there's an OTK or more damage with it, so it's a very good card. The Hita, one of the best cards in the mirror match, possibly the best. So you can literally steal their wolf underneath it here, and then you can link those two and summon another wolf, and that actually counts. So then you can have it summoned by using itself as a link material, so it'll have its second effect. So then you're playing, for the last Salamangreat monsters, double Stalio, 1 Chimera. Double Stalio is also arguable, but debatable, sorry, but I think it's right in this case, especially if you're playing budget. Your resource management is very important, and sometimes when you need to shuffle back to Stalio rather than a wolf, it can hurt. So just having the second really comes up sometimes, especially if this gets stopped and you don't get access to Jaguar. having the second one can really help there. This is just for the OTK as well as the mirror match. The Fusion of Fire is very good in the mirror match, and the striker match. You can get rid of their Kakari if they leave it on the board. Then we're playing Update Jammer and Transcode Talker. This is just kind of it's another OTK through a clear board. Really, it's not as good, but it's just kind of there. It's a cheap option, and it just lets you get damage. Like this can go up to 28 and attack up twice, so it can get you over monsters that you normally can't. The final card is also a bit out there, so you're like, this isn't a budget card. It kind of is, mainly because of the reprint and dual power. Also, it's out in the structure deck as a common during the week, so this thing will actually be relatively easy to get hold of. It's very important in the mirror. It's very, not in the mirror, sorry, in the Thunder match, because you don't have actually a lot of ways to out a Titan if you can't get, if you can't search. Sorry, Titan and Colossus. So this thing just kind of, it can do really, really good things in the Thunder match. So things that you can change if you can get hold of, things in the main, such as hand traps. You can change any of the hand trap lineup. The hand trap lineup is, I'd say, if you have more, play Impermanence, play Ogre, play stuff like that. Call by the Graves. If you can get hold of those, play them. They are excellent in this format. Definitely play Call by the Graves if you can. Twin Twister is another card I said earlier. It's better than Cosmic Cyclone right now, but it is more expensive. But if you have them, play them. Stuff in the extra deck that I changed, probably you probably wouldn't play this package. This is quite nice with Boral if you can, because you can steal stuff, but I wouldn't play it still. I'd play probably Baguska. Just simplifying the game state is way better for you in this case. Stuff like Dweller, Tornado Dragon, stuff like that really. Anything you can get a hold of, that works here. And then for the side deck, stuff like Pankratops, it's only a 2, so be careful with that. Ash is also a 2. I don't know if I mentioned that. Don't play more than 2. You will get a game loss. Anti-Spell Fragrance, possibly against Pendulum Magician, stuff like that. Super Poly if you can. Obviously, it's quite expensive right now, so don't be pushed about it. It's not necessary. It's just good against certain boards. Mind Control and Crackdown. You're playing a lot of Thunder. You're playing a lot of mirror matches. They're both very good in that. You can turn, if you take a Thunder card and any fire monster, you can just make Hita, and you're good to go. Stuff like Lancia, Sight, Sanctum. If you have them, play them. If you don't, it's fine. Just play whatever you can, really. I'm not going to lay out a side deck here because it's really whatever you think you're going to need. But that's pretty much it now. This is pretty budget. I'm pretty sure that you can get hold of most of these cards easily enough. Other options are probably just maybe maxing out on more Salamangreat monsters, stuff like Foul. Even if you wanted to, you can play the big Buffalo. It's okay. I wouldn't recommend it, but it works sometimes. If you can't get hold of some of the cards here. But that's pretty much it. So this has been Owen with the deck profile for One Card Denglong, signing out.